What is going on, everybody? And in this video, I'm going to give you guys a state of the market and stock picks for March 1st, 2022. So first things first, getting into the state of the markets. We still have Russia and Ukraine. There's still a lot going on there, a lot of mixed signals. Apparently, they had discussions today, but did not come out very well. Apparently, Russia was attacking soon after. Again, it's hard to determine what is actually going on over there. But with what we're seeing, again, we have to ultimately understand that the market is not going to be the war unless something dramatically comes of that. Again, something I've talked about, whether either Russia starts discussing nukes in a more serious tone, or if China decides to enter this current war that is going on. So we need to be mindful of that, and we need to see what is going to take place. A lot of sanctions have been taking place on Russia and their banks. So being said, that is something to consider as well. How is that going to affect the market? What other things have ties to Russian banks? So there is a lot going on in the market. We're not going to essentially see everything that's going to happen. We can't predict everything that's going to happen. Not to say that we predict anything here. We try to make a very come up with a lot of what if scenarios and what's going on. And I've always said you need to have some kind of thesis going into each and every day, kind of where you're going. Events that are occurring. It's important to know that going into each and every day so you're not blindsided by what's going on. Yes, there will always be something that comes out of left field every now and again, but as long as you know essentially everything, the events that are going to occur and everything else, and current events does help quite a bit. So being said, this week we have that. We were looking for Putin to retaliate today, possibly, after everything that's been going on. I think an overnight session is going to really determine what Putin is going to do moving forward. Being said, we do have Beige Book Wednesday, so we're going to get some insight into the next FOMC meeting. We do have Powell this week as well. Something I failed to mention in the weekly update, we have Powell on Wednesday and Thursday. He's going to be talking about policy in front of the Senate, I believe. And then for those 2 days, so we're going to get a lot of talks about inflation. We'll actually probably get some insight into how he feels about what's going on in Ukraine, if that is going to affect any kind of rate raises. There was a lot of rumors today talking about this 7 rate raises and everything that has been extremely hawkish, that there's no way that the Fed can do that now from what is going on. Is that true? We don't really know from this point. Again, we have to wait to see what the Fed do. They do have a meeting on the 16th. So we have a lot going on this week with that. So there is a lot of different scenarios that can essentially depict this. This is why this is not a good market to be swinging, because you don't know what information is going to be released overnight, and then it could sway the markets in a big direction one way or another. If, for example, China decides to enter and becomes a threat to the U.S., that could cripple the markets, and the market would come flying down. Again, there's a lot of other different scenarios you can play out. It's good to try to have a couple different scenarios of what could possibly happen. And then that way, when if that event does happen, you have some sort of insight on where to be looking during that time. So state of the market, it's still up for grabs. We are at a critical support here. As you can see on the SPX, a lot of different big tech stocks are in the same spot. We rejected really hard. We got news today from Russia talking about nukes again. So that kind of sunk us a little bit. But the good thing to see is that we held. That is something that is extremely bullish is that we are holding, even though we did bounce off the monthly support here, which is something why we're kind of seeing this massive move, I think, in general. And then we're getting a lot of good news as far as possibly not raising rates as crazy as they thought, that they're actually going to start pushing that off to 2023 is a possibility. Even with inflation, it could get really sticky. It really just depends what's going to happen. I still believe the Fed are going to go through with March and stop the bond buying, so they can at least alleviate some of it. But I think what's going to happen is the rates, I think that can's going to be kicked down the road until they can kind of determine what's going on with everything. So we're going to have to see. Again, critical level, we need to break this 4,400 mark. I've been talking about this all week, even on the morning talks that I do on Twitter. But if we do break that tomorrow, if we find that we gap up over that tomorrow, we're going to be running quite a bit. The market is showing strength. And unless there's any new news about Ukraine, I think things are going to be positive when it comes to the stock market. I'm not talking about the economy in general and what's going on, but the stock market, you have to remember, is different from everything else. And the stock market will start running, I think, after that point. Now, all-time highs, I think, is a bit far-fetched from this point because we still don't know what the Fed's doing. I think we'll have a nice rally, like something I've been talking about, but I think what's ultimately going to happen is we won't be able to hit all-time highs and hold all-time highs until we get the actual rate raises. But so that's what the market, again, needs to hold. We did make a lower low, which I do not like. I don't want to see this rejected. If we get rejected off this tomorrow, we wake up and this is still down here, I take that as a very bearish sentiment. And I think we'll retest that 20 monthly after that, which could be a bad sign. Again, we could hold it. I mean, we're at a level where we can start holding this and reversing at any moment. And again, if we get that news that that rate raise is going to be kicked down the road, your tech is going to start picking up and start really pushing at that point. Bitcoin made a massive move today. There was nothing truly correlated with this. The only thing I was thinking it could possibly be is China and Russia are heavily invested in Bitcoin, and I don't know if they are liquidating to essentially fuel what they are doing at the current state. Could be a strong possibility. That's something that could be in the cards, and that's why we might be seeing a push here. Again, could be digital gold. It could be a lot of different scenarios that's going on here, but we're getting some massive moves here in Bitcoin. So I think, like I said, crypto will have a big year, and I think it's the way the environment's set up. Aside from everything else, I 100% stand behind Ukraine and everything that's going on there, but ultimately understand that this is not any of that. This has to do with the stock market. It's different from everything else. So being said, Bitcoin, I think we'll start going for all-time highs again here shortly. Just it has a lot of fuel, has a lot of backing, has a lot of momentum currently right now. But we'll have to see on that. Now, Tesla is a big one I want to watch. We're going into a wedge break here on the daily. Descending wedge. So if this breaks and holds above this, essentially that 875 mark, we could get a nice break up out of here, at least probably back to that 1K mark. Again, there's a lot of resistance at 1K. We're going to be able to break that. I think the market's in for, if we get any kind of positive news about, Russia backs down, or that rate raises get kicked down the road, right? This Tesla's going to be one of the first ones to start really ripping. Now, again, we don't want to get rejected at that 859 mark and start coming down. If this stays below 859 tomorrow, I can see us actually revisiting this 880 mark or 688 mark here shortly, especially if bad news starts piling up real quick. That can happen very quickly. Google is another big one I want to watch. I've been talking about this. It just broke. As long as it can hold above the 2,700 mark tomorrow, this could be another good one, possibility for another continuation. I have this nice breakout. Again, a lot of stuff is pending on what happens on these overnight sessions and what is going on with Russia. Again, I don't think there's anything specific. It's just another normal night, no big deal. It has to be something new, like I said, unless it's something new coming out of Ukraine and Russia. It's not going to push this market back down. The market, I think, is going to start pushing up more than likely. And Google being one of them, one of the best companies. Again, if we can break this 27.55 mark, we could possibly have a nice push up here, at least up to that, at least make an attempt for that 3K mark, but we have to see. Again, one of the best companies. It's being knocked down quite a bit, so you want to try to take advantage of that when you can. UPST is another big one I've been watching. It had another breakout here today. I want to see if it starts playing this range. If we get rejected up here at the 159 mark, I'll be looking to reclaim this back down to these lower levels here again at 135. Or possibly even 120 again on UPST is another big one I want to watch going in. And again, chips are always a big one. I do like this wedge break tomorrow. This is one I do want to watch tomorrow. If it does hold above this 159 mark, I want to get in this for this nice push up. It's got this nice range to at least 605. And then if we can break out from 605, we should get another push up to 640 at that point. So I do really like LRCX as well. Again, had great earnings, and just the way everything's played out, it's been selling. So one I want to keep on watch. ASML, same thing. It looks like we're starting to get a wedge break here. As long as we can maintain over that 662 mark, we can have a nice push up. We have another, obviously that psychological level 700 is another big one. So you got a lot of these that have nice gaps in them. That's what we're kind of looking to fill some of these gaps before it gets rejected. And then we're going to need some better momentum to start catching up and pushing up to the upside. Coin has been another really good one. It had I believe it actually broke here today because Bitcoin's been pushing. It still hasn't broken yet, but we definitely want to watch this level. Essentially, if we can get above that 198, we can possibly start making some bigger runs here up to 243. Up to 281. I think this one can, once this one starts catching momentum, it really starts going. Again, you want to watch this wedge on the daily and see if it's going to break tomorrow. I think will be a big one. Amazon Shop, I'm not too concerned with those. I think there are better plays out there than those. I do like Amazon for short. If for some reason we do start to sell, I think it could possibly revisit that 2750 mark as a strong possibility. If we can't break back above this, essentially that 3100 mark. So essentially we'll keep that 3100 mark on watch. If for some reason tomorrow we start to sell, we did retest this. We did have a big bounce because we had a big sell. If we can't break above that tomorrow, this is definitely what I'm watching again for the short. Again, it's one of the first ones that do sell off very quickly. Roblox is another one I think we need to keep on watch. It's getting close to turning. When this whole market starts turning, I think Roblox is another one you probably want to have. Again, I'd really like to wait for a break here first before doing that. We need a break above this 55 mark. If we get a break above 55 mark, I think we can definitely start pushing back up on this. So want to see how that is moving forward. But tomorrow we also have, I know I didn't give a lot of earnings plays over the weekend for the weekly update. There is some earnings this week. There's SE, Baidu, and Snow this week. You got SE and Baidu tomorrow morning. This could be really good right now. It's like, I mean, I could give levels now, but if for some reason it does really well, a lot of these levels won't matter. You're gonna have to mark them pre-market to see where they're at. You got one level here at the 175 mark. Then you got a couple of resistances here. You're gonna have a resistance here at the 200. All these psychological round numbers, 225. If it does get that far rate, but it does have earnings. They normally do fairly well. So definitely want to watch this tomorrow. Again, if they do bad and it's selling off, then I wouldn't really worry about it. I'm also worried about to the upside because I feel like the market's getting ready to turn here. So if it does get good news, I think it could start getting some really good momentum on the upside. Baidu is a tricky one because of everything that's going on in the world right now. Kind of playing momentum on this one, watching that 167 mark. If we can break that tomorrow. But ultimately, for these ones, I'm looking pre-market. So when I talk about pre-market, you're going to mark out levels. Yes, I have some levels here, but depending where we get stuck. So say we push up to the 168 mark tomorrow, as long as the hourly candle, the 9 o'clock hourly candle is open above 169, or even the 10 o'clock candle, because you might get a bunch of junk that essentially it just kind of sits here for 30 minutes and then the 10 o'clock candle opens above that 168 mark. That would be a good time to enter. You do have the 171, which is a slight resistance, but I think if you can get past that, then you can start really getting explosive with Baidu at that point. So those are the ones I'm kind of watching. And then, like I said, we have snow on Wednesday, but I'll go over that on Tuesday night. So we'll have to see. I don't want to make this video too long. A lot of them have been long just because of what's been going on in the market. So nonetheless, if you've made it this far, I appreciate you. Drop a like button and subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.